Hey everybody, it's Jimmy and Ange. Ange, what we're talking about today is HOAs, Homeowners Associations. Okay, if you're moving to Florida or you live in Florida and you're moving, it is crucial you check out that HOA just as much as you're checking out that house.
Oh yeah, maybe even more.
Maybe even more. I know probably 20-25% of the people find their dream house in an HOA, and they end up wanting to sell it within 12 months because they can't stand the Homeowners Association. So, and I'm going to give you some examples, so stay at the end, okay? These are true stories of some examples of what is going on in some HOAs. There's some pros and there's some cons of HOAs, okay? So I'm going to go over some pros. Angie's going to talk about some cons. In the meantime, do me a favor, if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. It's greatly appreciated, and a lot of work goes into these videos. So, first of all, a good thing about HOAs is they make sure you're not living in a dump.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, you don't have cars parked on the front lawns. You don't have, I go into some neighborhoods to do inspections, and literally the barbecue's in front of the house on the grass. There's
three barbecues.
There's a broken down car on the grass. Okay, and I'm not trying to say, it doesn't matter if it's a rich neighborhood.
Yeah, you're not trying to be judgmental here.
I'm not trying to be judgmental, but come on. You have a couch that's sitting in front of the
garage door.
Yeah, or in front on the grass and stuff, and even if it's not a rich neighborhood, you could remove it. But if it's an HOA, trust me, the HOA would be all over you.
Oh, that wouldn't be there for more than 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be gone in no time. Yeah. You'd be fined out the wazoo.
Yeah. So what's a con?
Well, put it this way, one of the biggest ones is the fact that your HOA fee can go from zero to astronomical pretty much overnight.
Yeah, so basically, if you're getting a mortgage, if you're getting a 30-year fix, your mortgage stays the same, but
HOA's gone up. It can start out at $30 or $60, and then next year it's $120, then the next year it's $380, then it's $700, then it's $1,200.
I know, and especially if you're in a condo, that's one of the biggest things. They have these special assessments.
Oh, and because if they give you a special assessment, they may turn around and say, we need $1 million. Now you got to come up with 40 grand.
And they have a lot of power, HOAs.
Oh, yeah, you can lose your property. You lose your house. You don't pay it. Yeah.
So it's like, I live in an HOA and my fee is not that much. I pay yearly. I pay like $300 a year. They take care of a couple of palm trees,
I live in the deed restricted, so we don't have any HOA fees or anything. And deed restricted is where like you certain things you can't do. Like you can't go build an extension on your house. You can't have, we're not allowed to park on the streets. That kind of thing.
During the day?
Well, you can if it's like a business is coming in, or if you're just running in and running out kind of thing, but you can't leave your car on like all day, all night on the street.
Because like our neighborhood, like my neighborhood, you park on the street, but at night you'll get a ticket.
No, they'll do the same in mine, but everyone by us has, the houses were designed where you could literally put 3 cars in the driveway, like next to each other. And if you wanted to have a 4th car, you could put one behind another. So the driveways are big enough that you could do that.
Well, another benefit of HOAs is amenities. Some of these HOAs have freaking, especially the new ones that they're building in certain areas, they have parks, they have pools.
A lot of them they're cutting your lawn. You're paying for your lawn to be cut, or your house to be painted, or your roof to be fixed. And those are the ones that, and those fees can go up astronomically. And the funny part about those too is, here's another con. Some of the people that are on those boards, when you get the landscaper guy that's coming in, the landscaper guy who's taking care of your HOA is the relative of the guy on the board. And the price has gone up and the kickback's going over.
So I'm going to give you an example, okay, of a con, okay? That's what you're saying. It's cliquish, it's political, it's this and that.
Yeah.
There was this house that I was doing an inspection, and the lady lived there for 12 years. It was an association. She's selling it to these buyers, and she had a koi pond, and you couldn't see the koi pond, even though it was in front of the house. You couldn't see it until you really walked up to the front steps and looked down.
Yeah,
the way it is, okay. And it was kind of a little bit of a long walkway and stuff. She had it there. Everybody knew about it. The kids would come over. They would feed the kois, the fish. Everything was perfect. The association had no problem with it. The new owners moved in. Within a week, they got a letter. You have an illegal koi pond.
Yeah.
You need to remove it. And I'm like, it's been here for 12 years.
Yeah, where you been? Yep.
You know, and they knew about it. Like, yeah, but you know, she was nice and, you know, older or whatever the excuse was. But we have to enforce this. You need to move the koi pond. Is that bull or is that bull?
Oh, it is. And you have the other ones too. I have a friend that moved down towards Sarasota, that area down there, and he moved into an HOA. And he has a pretty big driveway. I mean, long. His driveway's probably got to be like 60, 80 feet long, like to pull up to his house. And he has an F-150 and he has a Lamborghini SUV, right? And the F-150 is very rarely there because it's for his business, and he has a business location where he leaves it there. But he drives the Lamborghini back and forth, and that's literally an SUV. It looks like, you know, any other SUV on the ground. He had a letter come to him telling him that he could not park his SUV in his driveway.
Oh yeah, but some of them.
It's an SUV.
Listen, I have the home inspection company, okay, and I have an F-250, I have a Toyota Tacoma. And I would put, the association didn't want any lettering on the trucks.
Yeah.
Okay. But once in a while, yeah, I would forget. So I got magnets, I put them on the sides and everything. And then I would get a letter. And I'm like, wow, that was quick. I forgot it 2 nights. You know, it's like somebody's driving around, you know, in their golf cart and they're just looking at, oh, let me send them a letter. Yeah. Or the palm tree, you know. And I'm like, and I got frustrated because I'm like, it's one night. It's a business. It's in my driveway, and you can't really see it unless you really look.
You got to walk up on your property
because I have cars on both sides of it. Yeah, but it didn't matter. Then the laws changed. You know, the
HOA laws changed.
The HOA laws changed, and now because they pissed me off so bad, you know, now I leave the magnets on all the time because now you could have.
They can't. Yeah, you can leave. They can't tell you not to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing with my buddy. Now he parks his 250, his Ford 250, at the end of his driveway. Yeah. He walks from his house all the way down to the driveway.
Well, one HOA said, you know, one HOA was going crazy on this other person that was buying a house. He actually backed out of it because he has an F-250. I was doing the inspection, and he pulled up his F-250 into the driveway. It was a newer home. It was new construction. But the truck is so long that it was over the sidewalk by 6 inches. And somebody actually pulled up and said, hey, you can't do that. He's like, can't do what? He goes, you can't cover the sidewalk. He's like, well, my truck is all the way up to the door. And this is like, well, you can't keep it here. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's like 6 inches. It's the sidewalk. There's still plenty of sidewalk around. No, you can't.
Yeah, there are people.
So he's like, you know what? This HOA, screw you. He didn't even buy the house yet. I was doing the inspection. Yeah. He actually told me, Jimmy, stop the inspection. Screw this place. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I know it's bad. I've heard a few from my buddy because he has the 250 with the double rear axle. Yeah. Where it's got the 4 tires in the back. Oh my God! And then he had the diesel where you could hear it really screaming. He guns it now around the neighborhood.
Yeah. So you know what? I said I'll do the pros, you do the cons. But there's so many. I can think of so many
horror
stories of horror stories. And the point of this is just so if you're moving into an HOA, you guys really have to, like I said, research the HOA more than the house. They have so much power. They have power to fine you.
They can tell you if you leave the garbage can out too long, or what time you can put the garbage can out at. You know, it's like they'll come down on how high your grass is.
Oh yeah, you know, your grass.
What color your house is, what kind of plants you've planted. It's not. Oh
my God, you should see. I just painted my house. You know, I went from the light color to the darker color. You know, and it wasn't an approved color. And I had to put it through HOA, and they had a vote on it and all that stuff.
Meanwhile, your house looks better than every house on the block right now.
Yeah, and I finally got it through. It took a while, but I finally got it through. So I followed the rules. You know, I'm not like that, you know. I followed the rules. But now it's part of their palette. Now everybody's like, well, what's the number of the paint that you use?
Yeah, because your house looks great. It looks, you picked a really good color combo.
And everybody said don't paint it that color. I did a video on how to pick the perfect house. Check that one out, too. Great. So basically, mismanagement too. The people that get on the board, I'm saying you could get people that are really good on the board, but you get people that are
there's been some news lately about HOA board members being
Unethical
arrested.
board,
being
unethical,
arrested. Yep, and for stealing, like taking $1 million, taking $500,000. Like that money goes. You don't know where that money goes. Like some of these boards, like they don't have the proper setup. They don't have a real bank account. They'll put it in. They vote on president, vice president, treasurer, all that stuff. And the treasurer is just putting the checks in his personal bank account. So he's commingling funds. And then he's just spending
Well, that's
them.
going against the law. I mean, I haven't read that one, but yeah, a lot
No,
of...
I've seen it happen already. I've seen it.
You know, neighborhoods, conflicts with neighbors. I've seen people that are like, hey, you know what? This person has this tree that's overhanging onto my property. And then you go to the board, say, hey, could you talk to them? And they're like, oh, he's nice or she's nice. Just leave her alone. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and then if you were to cut it,
oh, yeah, they'd be like, oh, you can't touch it and stuff like that.
They're finding you now, and it's World War III.
You know, and the rules, it's like, you know, some of the rules are ridiculous. Like you want, you know, Christmas, you want to have Christmas lights up and you're away and the Christmas lights have to be down by this day. It's like literally some HOAs have people driving around. They're retired.
Yeah.
And they're driving around with a
little golf cart.
A little golf cart and a little, you know.
Yeah, well, they'll tell you also, you can't use colored lights. Your lights can't blink. They can only be the white lights or the blue lights, and they have to be solid. And you can't put them around a tree, but you could put them around or you can put them around a tree, but not around your house. I mean, I've got friends that live down there, and I'm like, guys, how do you live here?
And not only that, but a lot of people get, you know, sue the associations, and it's basically the owners that are getting sued.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, my one buddy who lives in a place, a friend of mine, Jimmy, his name is, not you, another guy, he's in a HOA that it's all about participation. So, like, when, say, the 4th of July comes around, everyone's got to put those, like, 4th of July banners up, and he could care less. I mean, he's like, what, I got an American flag, but he's got to take it down every night or else he gets fined. And it's like, and it's not like a military kind of place. It's just one of these places. If he doesn't put Christmas lights up at Christmas time, he gets a letter. Where's your decorations?
And not only that, but...
So it's reverse.
Here's a condo one, okay? So the found a buyer. This person's been trying to sell this place for a year, okay? Found a buyer, paying cash, happy. They needed to sell it. They couldn't afford it anymore. The HO say, well, we don't want them here.
The approved buyer. Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
And they're like, why don't you want them here? Well, you're allowed to have a dog, but the limit on dog weight, whatever, I'm just...
Yeah, 35 pounds or something
35
like that.
pounds, and that dog, you know, we were told was 37 or 38.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It is.
I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, you'll never see the person. You don't live anywhere near them. And the funny part is some of these people that are moving into this, they're in better financial standings than the people that are that already live in these places or the people that are on the board, where these people could actually, the reason why they move to these HOAs is because they're so busy doing what they do in their personal life that they don't have to do these other things to try to make their lives easier, and they become nightmares.
Yeah, lack of transparency too is a big thing. The transparency is not, you know, you can read the notes and everything, but you know, it's also the people's faults that, you know, live in those HOAs. They don't go to the meetings.
That's the biggest one, that you have to be you have to be a member, and you have to go. And you have to know what's going on. You know, you can't play Monday morning quarterback. You actually have to be involved, because if something goes wrong, you can get to call it out.
All right, so listen, I could keep going and telling you guys stories about, you know, HOAs, how horrible they are, but I got to tell you some pros to keep it fair. Like I said, the first one, you know, maintain community. Amenities, we talked about that one. Increase property values. If the neighborhood looks good,
it is good. You're going to make money. Yep.
It's going to increase the value of your home. You know, you're sharing costs of infrastructure problems. You know, if there's a park in there or whatever, you know, it's
that
not
becomes a pro and a con, because you don't have the money for it.
Neighborhood uniformity. So like every house, the grass is cut. It's good and bad, because I know I've been into some neighborhoods and they were allowed to paint it only. They had 4 colors to pick from.
Yeah.
And every other house was just like...
It's like blue, yellow, gray, brown. Blue, yellow, gray, brown.
Some neighbors, you know, HOAs have, you know, gates. You know, a lot of them do. Security features, you know. A lot of people, you know, they do social, you know, social things. You know,
social events, yeah.
Social events, you know. Insurance. You know, this could be a pro and a con. HOAs have a master insurance policy, you know.
Yeah,
so it's a shared cost. You know, the environment could be quieter because, you know, HOAs will be all over you if, you know, if it's too loud. Road maintenance, if there's a problem, you can call the HOA and complain, and they'll fix it.
Fixed, yeah.
You know, pest control, like you were talking about, you know, they could take care of the outside. They could take care of, you know, cutting the grass, you know. You know, and there's somebody that you can complain to, and if they're a good HOA, they'll help you out, you know, saying, hey, this is, like, I live behind my house. The HOA owns a lot of the land there. We have water, a pond, stream, all that stuff. And when it grows, I could call, well, my wife will call, and she says, hey, it's overgrown, and they have somebody there next day.
Yeah. I mean, put it this way, if you can afford, like, you know, you don't have a cap on your HOA, meaning like you move into some place and you go like, well, I can only pay $100 a month kind of thing. If you're one of these people that's like, hey, if it goes to $1,000 a month, I can pay it, you know, because of what your business is or what you do. You're a big doctor, a lawyer, or whatever. You're making money. You know what? God bless you in those places, because that will make your life easier. But if you're just a retiree or
on fixed income,
you can be screwed overnight. You might as well go out and buy yourself a house in a normal house in a non-deed or HOA restricted place and hire a landscaper he comes twice a month for $50 or whatever. And when you need something fixed, fix it yourself, you know, because you don't have that hanging over you, because they can make your life miserable. Like, especially what they had happen in Florida with the condos, and they had to have X amount of money in the bank. And there's condo buildings that are now closed because they did not have the money, and people couldn't live in them.
Oh, yeah.
And they still own them. Or you lose it. They put a lien against you.
Yeah, and so, you know, if you can't afford the HOA fee, forget about it, you know. So here's the end. At the end of the day, okay, if you're buying a house in HOA, check out the house, you know. And,
you got to get everything in writing.
But check out the HOA. I think it's just as important as the house.
I think it's actually more important, because honestly, because you could buy a beautiful house and then you could be in it for a year or 2 or 3, and then not that you're selling it and moving it, but all of a sudden they get a new board and they decide to do something, and all of a sudden they come to you and you have an assessment fee of, you know, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 because they want to put in a children's park or redo the park that's there, and you got to share in that cost.
Yeah.
And you don't have it.
Anyways, that's today's video. Do me a favor, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. A lot of work goes into this, and it's really motivational. Also, check out this video right here. I picked it out just for you guys. I think you'll enjoy it, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Thank you, and have a great day.